Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you had a great Sunday. You watched the Super Bowl, had a good time, and now it's time for the off season. And there's something I really wanted to talk about, especially when it comes to anything NFL draft related. And what I see, especially being a Packer fan, I see like Brian Gutekunst, I see the organization taking a lot of those big home run swings at a lot of these prospects. We don't have to travel too far back in time to look at what they did in 2019 with Rashawn Gary, someone who is a huge home run swing, very raw. A lot of people, myself included, weren't actually overly excited about that draft pick. Obviously, it's proved us wrong. Darnell Savage, another huge swing right there. That one, the results have been, kind of hit or miss. So I want to talk about swinging for the home run or swinging for the double. And there is a time to do both. So what I look at, and me speaking from the Packers' point of view, and this is going to speak with Detroit, Houston, Seattle, all these teams that have multiple first round picks this year. When you have multiple picks, you can afford yourself to take that home run swing, but then take also a safer player later on because you do have those multiple high draft picks. I look at it as kind of like a baseball team. It's great because home runs, they put fans in the stands, all that stuff, and it gives people a lot to be excited about. But what happens if you have nothing but home run hitters? There is a lot of swing and miss in that game. Or because of that, there's not a lot of people on base. So yeah, every now and then you're going to connect and you're going to hit a home run, which is great. But a solo home run is only going to get you so far. Hitting on one player here or there is only going to get you so far. You need to have those players around those big home run hitters, those single, doubles hitters, those safe players, those guys that are going to be productive, get on base, do those things for you. You need to have a team that has a lot of that as well. So, from the football standpoint, you look at a guy like an Anthony Richardson. He is probably the ultimate lottery ticket in this draft. Quarterback from Florida, if you're not familiar, he has got the athleticism, the size, huge arm. I mean, this guy could be the total package. This guy could be the best quarterback we've seen in a long time coming out. There's a lot of if, there's a lot of could to that. As opposed to, you look on the other end, you have a guy like a Peter Skoronski, someone I'm really high on. He's a guy that maybe doesn't have that insanely high ceiling that, Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle from Northwestern, if you're unfamiliar, he might not have the Orlando Pace, the Jonathan Ogden, the Walter Jones, the Joe Thomas ceiling, but what you're going to get out of him is you're going to get a damn good football player for the next 8 to 10 years. That, for one, can play tackle, can play guard, and heck, he was even recruited as a center. But this is a guy that's a technician. He's really sound. He might not give you the 5-team all-pro selection type, but he's going to be a rock-solid, good starter for a lot of years. So you really have to make that balance. You have to juggle when is it time to swing for the fence and when is it time for hit for the double. And that's why I do feel like the Packers have come up short a couple of times, is they've taken so many big swings at the fence that if those guys don't hit, or a lot of those guys don't hit, you might not have enough quality pieces behind them to make up for that. Meaning the depth of your football team might be a little bit light, or you just don't have the overall talent, the overall ability to overcome some of those shortcomings. So what I suggest is if you're rebuilding a football team, like I said, if you're the Houston Texans, you take that number 2 pick and you swing for the fence with that one. And then you take that number 12 pick and you go a little bit safer with it. Because right there, even if you miss on that home run, as long as you hit that double, you're still walking out of day one of the NFL draft with a really good football player. And that's what the football is all about. That's what building any football team is all about. It's getting as many good players on your team as you can. That way, when you do hit a home run, it is a grand slam and not just a solo home run. So, like I said, there's some players in this draft that are definitely those safe, solid, quality football players that you probably can just sit there and say, okay, they might not be a superstar, but they're going to be just a damn good football player. I already brought up Peter Skoronsky from Northwestern. He is somebody that I've been on for a long time. Really love the guy. Like I said, he's a technician. Grades out as a great pass protector. His big question is he's going to be he's not going to have the massive length that a lot of people covet at that position. So that will probably get him to have a little bit more of a limited ceiling that way. Michael Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame, he's a guy that I'm going to be really interested. I don't put a lot of stock into the combine, but I'm going to be really interested to see how he tests out. Because if he can run somewhere in that 4.6 to 4.65 range in the 40, and he shows really nice quickness, lateral quickness in the cone and the shuttles and all that, well, you got yourself not only a guy who's just a sound football player, but now there might be a little more athleticism. There might be a little untapped potential that we don't see. But even if he doesn't run that great, the guy's already a good blocker. He's a good receiver. He's just a damn good football player. My comp for him is Heath Miller, the former tight end from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but the guy was just a rock solid. You could count on him 60, 65 catches, 700 yards, handful of touchdowns, and block his you-know-what off for you. Another player that I really, really love is Jack Campbell, the middle linebacker from Iowa. Now, he's not going to have the big-time measurables, when it comes to his athleticism. He's going to test fine, but he's not going to test as an elite athlete. But he's, I believe 6'5", 245 pounds. He's got really good size, and even though he doesn't have that high-end athleticism, he can play sideline to sideline. This guy was literally built to be a linebacker. He was born to be a linebacker. He is one of those football players. So it's okay to look at a lot of these different positions and see those really safe, good football players that you need to have on your football team. Because not everybody's a superstar. Not everybody is a Patrick Mahomes. Not everybody is a Justin Jefferson. Sometimes you need to find your Allen Lazards. You need to find your Heath Millers. You need to find those just rock solid, good quality football players to build your football team. Like I said, and I just gave you 3 examples of some really nice safe picks. And Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. These are guys that you're swinging for the fence for. Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU. He's another guy, size, speed, but is it all going to be there? That could be a potential stud, or it could be a potential flameout. We'll see how it develops. But what I would recommend building a football team to sum everything up is it's okay to take your swings at the home run, but you need to make sure that you got your doubles hitters. You need to make sure that you're putting good, solid football players on the field. That way, when you do hit that home run, it's not a solo. It is a grand slam. And that is how you take your team from being, that now, I still got to get used to the 17-game schedule. But now this is where you can go from that 10-7, 11-6 to being that 12-5, 13-4, and instead of being in line for a wild card, being in line for home field advantage and potentially a Super Bowl championship. So it's all about finding those good players. Be safe, be smart, find those good, solid, quality football players, and when you take that swing, that could really be a massive, massive home run then. Make sure you do like and subscribe to this page. That way you get more great football content. I'm not sitting here telling you I'm an NFL draft scout. I am a fan that's just literally talking ball with you. That's what it's all about here at Tundra Talk, is we're just talking football, having nice discourse. Comment, like, follow, subscribe, do all those great things. Until next time, I'm Dave from Tundra Talk. Go Pack Go.